Hello, YouTube, and welcome to a very small commentary channel where I upload content about life and sometimes about death, and sometimes I upload content that is educational, but most of the time my content is about my personal stuff and struggles. And today I'm going to proceed or do like a part 2 of the video about the fractured relationships mothers have with daughters, which I uploaded yesterday. So just going to change screens because due to aging and memory, I like now to write things down so that my content flows clearly and I'm not all over the place. So this is about family dynamics and how wills can mess up relationships, a personal reflection. Hi again and welcome. Today I want to talk about a topic that affects so many families, but not everyone is willing to discuss openly. Family dynamics, especially between mothers and their children, and how wills can often cause deep divisions. This is something I'm personally dealing with, and I'd like to share my own story to shed light on the complex relationships between parents and children, siblings, and the idea of fairness. I have 3 children, 2 from a previous relationship with a doctor and my youngest from another relationship. When my older 2 were children, their father was awarded custody and I was only given access to them during school holidays, and not even every holiday. This was incredibly painful, but it was the reality I had to face. As a result, my relationship with my 2 oldest children, my daughter and son, was shaped by the limited time we spent together, and it wasn't easy to rebuild that bond after years of separation. My youngest child, however, grew up with me. Over the years, we developed a closer bond, which I believe comes from the time we spent together during difficult moments. I struggled with addiction for 17 years, but have been clean for over 3 years now. My youngest and I went through a lot of hard times together, and that created a strong connection between us. When I recently updated my will, I named him as the executor because of that bond, and because he's not married or working due to his own mental health challenges, something we both understand on a deep level. But when my daughter found out, she was deeply hurt. She felt that I was playing favourites. She reminded me of all the times she and her family had helped me over the years. And it's true, they have. But I've also helped her. And there were times I needed her, but she was too busy or had already made plans with her friends. Even though she only lives a few kilometres away, I'm lucky if I see her once a month. From my perspective, her family and friends often come before me, and that's been hard to accept. My daughter feels that she's tried to forgive me for my past mistakes, especially when I was battling addiction, and I appreciate that she's tried to build a bond. But from my side, I feel like it's never truly worked out because of the distance between us, not just physical distance, but emotional. That brings me to the bigger issue of wills. I know that naming my youngest as executor and saying that he and I share a closer bond has caused pain. But it wasn't about favoritism. It was simply the reality of our lives. My oldest two children have busy lives, families, work, responsibilities. They're doing well, and I'm proud of them for that. Their father, the doctor, is also wealthy, and that's given them a certain stability. My youngest, on the other hand, has struggled, much like I have, and that has brought us closer together. But that doesn't mean I love any of my children more or less. Wills have a way of exposing these complicated dynamics. No matter how much we try to be fair, someone always feels slighted. Some children see favoritism where the parent doesn't intend any. I've experienced this not just as a mother, but as a daughter too. I don't have a relationship with my own mother, not because I want it that way, but because she chose to cut ties. When she passes, I will be contesting her will because I feel she should be fair. As the eldest child who endured a lot of abuse, I feel like I've been forgotten, and yet I can see parallels in my own family. My mother clearly favours my youngest sister. My two younger siblings are both very wealthy, while I'm not. It's hard not to feel like the odd one out. And now I see something similar playing out in my own children. My two oldest are doing well financially. Through hard work, they've built successful lives, and their father's wealth has certainly helped them. My youngest, however, has had a harder time. He struggles with mental health issues, which is something we have in common. I understand his challenges in a way that I don't think others do, and that's part of why we're so close. But even with all of this, it's important to remember that wills are just legal documents. They don't define the love a parent has for their children. They don't capture the complexities of family dynamics or the emotions involved in raising children. I never intended to hurt anyone by the decisions I made in my will, but I can't also ignore the reality of the relationships I have with each of my children. The truth is, family dynamics are never simple. Relationships between mothers and daughters can be particularly difficult because daughters often expect more emotional closeness from their mothers, and when that doesn't happen, they feel rejected or resentful. Sons, on the other hand, might be more forgiving or more focused on their own lives. This doesn't mean that one child is loved more than the other, but the relationships are just different. Wills have a way of bringing these differences to the surface, and they can create rifts that sometimes feel impossible to heal. But I hope that by sharing my story, other families can see that it's not about favoritism, it's about the complicated, messy, and very real dynamics that shape our lives And in the end, the most important thing is the love we have for one another, even if it doesn't always look the same on paper. Thank you for listening, and I'm in a very difficult place at the moment. My daughter is not talking to me. And what we forget to see is that we are all victims here. Every one of us. I went through domestic violence as well as addiction, and my life was very erratic. And my poor youngest son never had his father in his life, like the oldest two have the father in their life. And sometimes when I look at their relationship, I feel like I'm second best, because this father of the oldest two had wealth, and he and his his second wife, could take my children overseas on holidays. My oldest children went camping with them, and my youngest one and I feel very much left out. When it comes to photographs, my daughter will take photographs and let's call it her surname, and include in that photograph one brother who isn't actually a blood brother, yet exclude my son from the relationship. Relationships are really fractured, and in my heart I would really love to see the three of my children come together and heal. When my husband went for custody, I said, please, if you are going to go for custody of the two children, take all three. Do not separate. And he didn't listen, and now we have a mess. Okay, I've shared, and if you have a similar story, I really would appreciate a comment below. Thank you guys again for watching. Thank you for being there. Again, I will upload content as it appears to be important. I'm not going to upload content just to waste yours and my time. It's got to be of significance. It's got to matter. I've wasted far too much time uploading videos. I've got thousands of videos I've uploaded, and it was never to be a famous YouTuber. I never wanted that. In fact, it was more like YouTube was a venting board for me, a place where I felt safe to share stories. Alright, please be kind to one another. And I can understand why we have wars. When blood doesn't get along, no wonder mankind, humankind, whatever, have hatred for one another. It's a sad world we live in, and it's time we were nice to one another. Alright, Jem has finished another video. Love, light and blessings. Goodbye.